So I've been babysitting for this one family, the Halversons, for like a year and a half now. Mostly Friday nights and the occasional weekday when their daycare falls through. 2 kids, Maddie's 6 and Theo's 3. Easy enough once Theo's down. The parents, Greg and Lacey, always text me through the night when they're out. Just normal stuff. How's it going? Theo eat his dinner? Whatever. Nothing weird about it normally. This one Friday, they're at a wedding upstate, like 2.5 hours away, and Lacey texts around 8 asking how things are going. I say good, kids are watching a movie, and she says, okay, good, keep an eye on Theo, he's been congested. Which, fine, normal mom text. Except Theo wasn't congested, like at all. I would have known. I'd been with him since 4. I didn't think much of it, honestly. People misremember stuff. Maybe she meant last week. Then, like 20 minutes later, I get another text, this time from Greg's number, asking if I locked the back door. I had. I always do. First thing when I get there, actually. It's like a habit at this point. I said yes, locked when I got here, and he says good, there's a spare key under the mat just in case. There has never been a key under that mat. I've looked for one before because Lacey mentioned wanting to leave one for the dog walker. So now I'm a little weirded out, but I'm telling myself I'm being paranoid. It's a wedding, people are drunk, maybe Greg's not even the one typing, maybe Lacey's typing on his phone or something. I put both kids to bed around 8:30, normal time, and I go downstairs to watch TV like I usually do until they get home around midnight. Around 9:45, my phone buzzes again, Lacey's number. Did you check under the mat for the key? Same thing Greg just asked, but now from her phone. That's when my stomach actually dropped, because why would they both ask me the same question about a key that doesn't exist 20 minutes apart, like neither one knew the other had already asked? I texted back, why? Is something wrong? And got nothing for like 10 minutes, which felt like forever. Then, just checking. Stay inside. Don't go out front. I hadn't said anything about going outside. I wasn't planning to. The message just felt off, like it was answering a question I never asked. I went and checked the locks again. Every door, every window on the first floor. Living room window was the kind that locks but doesn't latch all the way unless you push it, and it wasn't pushed. I don't think I unlocked it. I don't even open that one normally. I shut it, locked it, and then I sat on the stairs where I could see the front door and both kids' bedroom doors at the same time, and I called Lacey's number instead of texting. It rang 4 times and went to voicemail. Her actual voice. Her actual voice. 30 seconds later, I got a text. Everything's fine. Why are you calling? Just watch the kids. But I'd just heard her voice on the voicemail greeting, and it didn't match the rhythm of the texts, if that makes sense. The voicemail sounded like someone who'd want to know exactly why I was scared, not someone brushing me off. I called Greg directly. He picked up on the second ring, loud wedding music behind him, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "Hey, everything okay? Lacey just said you tried calling, but I think her phone's been weird all night. It kept dying and restarting. She's been borrowing mine." He had no idea about the key, no idea about Theo being congested, no idea about any of the texts after 9. I told him what happened, and he went quiet for a second, and then said, "Lock everything, we're leaving now. Call 911 if you hear anything at all." It took them an hour and 40 minutes to get back, which was the longest hour and 40 minutes I've ever sat through. Lights on in every downstairs room, both kids' doors propped open so I could hear them breathing, phone in hand the whole time. Nothing happened physically while I was there. No one came through a door. When Greg and Lacey got home, they went straight to her phone, and it turned out it actually had restarted twice that night, like Greg said, but there was no record in her messages of anything being sent to me after 8:40. The texts I got after that point weren't in her sent folder at all. Same for his after a certain point. The police looked at it eventually, said it was possible the messages were spoofed to look like they came from those numbers, but they couldn't say for sure, and nothing ever came of it. The Halversons still call me to babysit, but now there's a code word, something stupid that nobody else would think to text, and if I don't get the code word in any check-in, I call the police first and them second. I still think about the line,
"Stay inside, don't go out front." I never said I was thinking about going out front. So I guess what gets me isn't even that someone was pretending to be them. It's that whoever it was watching the house closely enough to know I might.
The third thing I want to tell people about is the night the power went out at my parents' lake house, which I was staying at alone for a few days that fall to get some work done away from the city. Total off-season. Most of the other houses on that stretch already closed up for the year. Quiet place, no real neighbors close enough to hear anything, which I liked, until I didn't. Storm rolled in around 9, not even that severe by local standards, just wind and rain, the kind that knocks the power out for an hour or two and then comes back. Happens every fall up there. Lights went out around 9:40. I wasn't worried. Found the flashlight in the kitchen drawer where it always is, lit a couple candles, figured I'd just wait it out and go to bed early since there wasn't much else to do without Wi-Fi or lights. About 40 minutes into the outage, I heard the floor creak upstairs. The house has exactly one person in it when I'm there alone, me, and I was downstairs in the kitchen. Old houses creak, I told myself that. Settling, wind pressure, whatever explanation lets you keep breathing normally. Then it creaked again, and this time it was a specific kind of creak, the third step from the top, which only makes that sound when actual weight presses down on it in a particular spot. I know because I'd lived in that house every summer of my childhood, and that step has always had that exact complaint. I stood at the bottom of the stairs with the flashlight for probably 2 full minutes just listening, telling myself I was being ridiculous, that I'd talk myself into hearing things if I didn't just go check. So I went up, slowly, flashlight first, calling out something dumb like, "Hello?" The way you do when you already kinda know nobody's supposed to answer, but some part of you is hoping somebody normal will. Nobody answered. I checked my room, my parents' room, the little office, all empty, nothing out of place, and I started to feel like an idiot. Decided it really had just been the house settling like I told myself at the bottom of the stairs. I went back down, sat at the kitchen table with a candle, tried to read on my phone with what battery I had left. The power came back around 11:15, all at once, every light in the house snapping on, which is its own kind of jarring after over an hour of just candlelight. And in that sudden light, through the kitchen doorway, I could see straight down the hall to the front closet, the one we use for coats and boots, and the door to it was open about 6 inches. I always keep that closet shut. It's right by the front door. I'd have noticed it open earlier when I came down for the flashlight. I didn't go check it that second. I'm not going to pretend I was brave about it. I grabbed my car keys, walked out the front door like I was just getting something from the car, and drove 4 minutes down the road to the one neighbor I knew still had their place open that time of year, an older guy named Walt, who's known my parents for 20 years, and I more or less just stood on his porch shaking a little and asked if I could come in for a minute. He came back with me, brought an actual gun, which I'd never seen him carry before, and we went through the house together with the lights fully on. Closet was empty, just coats, but behind the boots on the floor, pushed toward the back corner, there was a granola bar wrapper, the kind I don't buy, and a sock that wasn't mine or my parents', just sitting there, like someone had been in there long enough to get a little careless about what they left behind, or like they left in a hurry once the power came back and they realized the house was about to be fully lit. We checked every door and window after that. Side door off the mudroom was unlocked, which it's never supposed to be. My dad's strict about that one specifically because it's the one that doesn't have a deadbolt, just the regular lock. And somebody could have worked that without much trouble if they had the time and the dark to do it in. Walt stayed the rest of the night on the couch, wouldn't take no for an answer about it, and I didn't sleep so much as lie there listening to a house that had gone completely, almost insultingly quiet, like whatever was creaking up those stairs had simply waited until the lights came back and let itself back out the easy way, the same way it must have let itself in. So this happened last December. I'm 20 years old, home from college for winter break. My parents had already left for a cruise they'd been planning for months, so the house in our quiet subdivision outside Columbus was completely empty except for me. I didn't mind. I had the place to myself, could sleep in, watch whatever I wanted, and not worry about anyone asking why I was eating cereal at 2 in the afternoon. The first couple days were nice and normal. I kept the heat low, ordered takeout, and caught up on shows. Then the packages started showing up. The first one was on the porch when I got back from a late run to the store. Small brown box, no shipping label on the outside, just my grandma's name written in black marker, Eleanor Whitaker. My grandma had been dead for 4 years. I figured it was some mix-up at the post office or maybe one of those weird online stores that autofills old addresses. I left it on the kitchen counter and forgot about it until the next morning when another one arrived. Same handwriting, same name, this time a little bigger. Inside the first box, when I finally opened it, was a pack of those hard lemon candies she used to keep in her purse. The exact brand. I got this weird chill, but told myself it was coincidence. By the third day, there were 6 boxes. They came at weird times, always when I was in the shower or napping or in another room. Never saw a delivery driver. The security camera on the doorbell just showed the packages already sitting there, like they appeared between frames. One of them had a note inside. "These are for you, Ellie. Keep the house warm." Nobody called my grandma Ellie except my mom, and she wasn't due back for another week. I started sleeping with the lights on. The house felt too big, too quiet. Every creak in the floorboards made me jump. On the 5th night, I heard the front door unlock downstairs around 2 a.m. I double-checked all the locks before bed, I swear. I grabbed the baseball bat from my closet and crept to the top of the stairs. Nothing. But when I went down in the morning, another package was inside the house on the dining table. This one had my actual name on it, written underneath my grandma's. Inside was her old house key, the one we buried with her. I haven't slept there since. I'm staying with a friend until my parents get back. The packages stopped the day I left, but sometimes I still check the porch camera from my phone, even though I'm miles away. Anyway, that was my break. I work from home most days now as a software developer. Moved into this place in a cul-de-sac in a newer development last spring. Nice neighbors, quiet street, exactly what I wanted after years of apartment noise. The house came with a basic security system. Doorbell cam, 2 indoor cameras I set up myself. I figured it was overkill, but better safe than sorry. For months, everything was fine. I'd sit at my desk in the home office, take calls, code, order lunch, the usual. Then one Tuesday afternoon, I noticed something off. I was on a video meeting when I glanced at the app on my second monitor that shows all the camera feeds. The living room camera showed me sitting at my desk, which was normal, but in the corner of the frame near the hallway, there was movement. A shadow, like someone walking past. I muted the meeting real quick and checked the live feed. Nothing. I rewound 30 seconds, and there it was again, clear as day, a person moving through my house while I was literally sitting 10 feet away in the next room. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen and went through every room. Empty. Checked windows, doors, closets, nothing disturbed. I told myself it was a glitch in the app, or maybe a weird reflection. But that night, the camera in my bedroom showed the closet door opening slowly while I was asleep. I only saw it the next morning when I reviewed the footage. The motion alert never went off. I changed all the passwords, reset the whole system, even swapped the cameras out for new ones. 2 days later, the living room feed showed me walking around the house at 3:17 a.m., but I have clear memory of being in bed the whole time. I don't know what's using my house when I'm not looking, but I've started sleeping at my girlfriend's place. I still pay the mortgage here, though. Haven't figured out what to do next. My ex and I split up last year. She got the house in the divorce, but she moved out of state for a new job and let me stay there with our daughter until I could find something permanent. Our daughter is 3. Most nights it's just the 2 of us. I try to keep things normal. Same bedtime routine, same lights on in the hallway, the usual. One evening last month, I ran out to the car to grab the groceries I'd forgotten. I was gone maybe 5 minutes, tops. Left the front door unlocked because I was coming right back and she was sound asleep upstairs in her room with the baby monitor on. When I came back in, The chain lock on the inside of the door was hooked. From the inside. I stood there with the bags in my hands, feeling my stomach drop. I called her name, no answer. I had to go around to the back sliding door to get in. The house was quiet, except for the baby monitor playing soft static. I ran upstairs, and she was still in her crib, sleeping like nothing happened. Nothing was missing. Nothing moved. But that chain doesn't lock itself. I replaced every lock the next day and started keeping a baseball bat by the bed. Some nights, I still hear the chain rattle softly around the same time I went to the car. I haven't told anyone because who would believe it? But I know what I saw. I want to talk about something that happened with a package, of all things, because it sounds so stupid until you actually see the photo. I live alone, second floor of a duplex, normal neighborhood, nothing sketchy about it. I order stuff online a lot, the usual amount probably, and most delivery apps now make the driver take a photo of the package after they drop it off. Proof it was delivered, you get a little notification with the picture attached. I'd ordered a desk lamp, nothing exciting, and I get the delivery notification around 6 p.m., drop-off photo and everything. Package on my doormat, my actual door, you can see the number plate next to the doorbell. Normal. I go down to grab it maybe 20 minutes later because I was in the middle of something, and it's there, fine, bring it inside, never think about it again. Except, like 2 days later, I'm scrolling back through old notifications for an unrelated reason, return on a different item, and I open that delivery photo again just to double-check the date on it, and this time I actually look at the whole picture instead of just the package in the corner. Behind the package, through the gap where my front door doesn't quite close flush with the frame, there's a sliver of the inside hallway visible. And there's someone standing in it. Not at the door, inside, just standing there, in my hallway, off to the side, kind of half turned away from the gap like they were trying not to be seen, but didn't realize the angle. I live alone. I was at work when that photo was taken. I have the badge-in logs to prove it. I checked after. There is no reason for another human being to be standing in my hallway at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday while I'm 40 minutes away at my job. I called the delivery app's driver support immediately, gave them the order number, asked if I could speak to the actual driver, see if maybe he saw or heard anything, somebody coming out as he was leaving. They couldn't connect me directly, but they passed a message along. Driver said the door was already cracked open when he walked up, which he says happens sometimes with older frames, doesn't latch right. Didn't think anything of it, didn't see or hear anybody. My door does not just pop open on its own. I've lived there 2 years. It's a deadbolt and a regular lock, both, and I always do both, every single time I leave. It's not even a thing I think about anymore. It's automatic. I went home that night and obviously didn't sleep, sat in my kitchen with every light on, going through every room like an idiot looking for I don't even know what. Signs somebody had been there, things moved, anything missing. Nothing was missing, nothing looked touched, which honestly was almost worse because it meant whoever it was hadn't come to take anything. I changed both locks within 2 days, had a guy come out same week even though it cost extra for the rush. I also started using one of those cheap door sensor alarms, the kind that just beeps loud if the door opens when it's not supposed to. Total overkill maybe, but I didn't care anymore. I never figured out how they got in. No signs of forced entry, nothing pried or broken, which the locksmith said usually means either an old key that was never returned, like maybe a past tenant, or it genuinely just hadn't never locked properly in the first place and I'd been assuming it was secure the whole time. I never saw that figure again, not on a delivery photo, not on the package cam I eventually installed by the door, but I kept the locksmith's number saved in my phone, and to this day, if I leave for more than like 2 hours, I check the door cam before I walk in, every single time, no exceptions, because once is enough to never trust that gap in the door frame.